Good afternoon, everyone. So now you know that what is the context of this entire course, and he has also talked about kind of 4 E's and a safe system approach, where we wanted to have safe roadways, safer vehicles, safer road users. So all those things we wanted to make it little bit ideal, but in actual things may not look like ideal. Reality is what the kind of roadway, what kind of facilities we have, that might be slightly different than what we desire to have as a ideal system. So we will just go through some of the slides which will tell you that what is the existing conditions at different location in India. You need to tell me that what are the problems in particular slides, and then subsequently we will talk about what is the current scenario in India, then state wise as well as the in particular in Assam, then what are some challenges which is there, and what are the government initiative to sum up them. So that is the overview of the today's talk. So before starting the actual thing, so whether you see any issue with this slide?
Yes, sir.
What are the issue?
Discontinuous guardrails.
So what will be the problem if this is discontinuous?
Sir, this is the discontinuous guardrail. Actually, sir, we provide guardrails in the clear zone. Otherwise, sir, when the vehicles will collide, it will go on that side and will not come up to the pavement. That's why we provide continuous guardrails here, sir. And second thing, sir, there the structures are created there. We should not create that structure there. We should provide guardrails.
So
Black and white strips, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is correct. Maybe we need to have, once we have guardrails or crash barrier, it has to be continuous. And these were the old practice where we had the stone pillars, which actually indicates the driver that this is edge of the kind of not edge of the road, but edge of the boundary of that embankment. So that way we need to have the continuity. Then any issue with this picture?
Sir, that is unauthorized pedestrian crossing.
Yeah. So you had very nice divider, and suddenly people make opening as per their comfort. And once you are new to this kind of roads, you don't expect suddenly somebody will come from other side. Once you have this kind of high divider, you are very sure that you will be able to move comfortably without interruption. So these kind of punctures, unauthorized punctures, will make it interrupted facility. Then any issue with the sign?
Sir, the object hazard marker which is used here, sir,
Yeah.
it is wrong, sir.
So why you say it is wrong?
Sir, we should use just like, sir, upward sign here, so that.
Yeah. So here in actually this sign is correct, but picture was taken in that way. That is actually service road on other side. So this hazard marker is not for service road. This is for main road. But yes, with this picture it is not clear. If it would have been taken from this side, this would have been clear, because there is a culvert very close by. So on either side it is, but here major concern was that if you are having this kind of not maintained sign board, so it's not going to serve the purpose. Then any other issue here?
Sir, here is the edge drop, sir.
Edge drop. Okay. Anybody else? So this is actually this is the main road, and then this is a culvert, and this is the passage they make it for pedestrian. So this object hazard marker is out of this, where first hazard to motorized vehicle is this. So you have to have that signboard to those objects which are closer to the road, not the far away from the road. So vehicle will having more probability to hit this than that rear side pillar. So, here, so although this is not very clear, few things, they had built rumble strip with no signage, no marking, and even there was a U-turn sign, but there was no U-turn as such. So, this is like kind of many times you will have this kind of rumble bars, but it's not, painting is not proper, even this like this reflectors are not there. So, you may not able to see these things in night time, and if you are moving at 80, 100, suddenly you will like your vehicle will jump up. This is a main road, and one road like maybe a minor road is joining this. So, any issue with this?
The traffic sign is not here.
Traffic sign is not here. So, maybe it might be there, but we had not taken the photo from far. So, any issue with this junction not related to traffic sign? What is? Side distance, like with this figure, that side might be, but this side you can't say until unless you take the picture from far away. So, here like you see this road is at 90 angle with no flaring. So, your vehicle does not go and take 90-degree turn and like go like this. Okay. You have to have some kind of flaring here, which will also improve the side distance. So, in these kind of second, if you want to take 90-degree turn, like then you need to stop and then take turn. Any issue with this slide?
Zebra crossing.
So, zebra crossing is nicely marked.
So, it is on the wrong place.
It's wrong place.
Yes, sir, because on that median it is not plus. Median is not plus there.
Okay. So like this is like actual photograph taken on last year. So, it is not like some of these photographs will be from Assam, it does not mean that like this only Assam, this kind of practice, this is like global. Any state you will go, you will find these kind of problems, and this is like this does not require rocket science. Like if you are building this kind of facilities, how you expect pedestrian will follow these facilities? It is not only one, maybe like there might be others, like multiple places, like this newly built facility. So, they had marked crosswalk, but they had marked at wrong places. Then this is a T junction where like there I think like this like 4 and 5 meter deep valley on the other side. So, now in this case, like if somebody is taking turn, and especially in like maybe in evening hours or low light time, then even a small mistakes a vehicle can fall in the valley side. Then this divider is like it's not visible at all at night time. So, it should have some reflective, and because divider size is like huge. So, it has to visibility of this kind of divider should be ensured if you put these kind of reflectors, so it can properly light. So, here if some driver make mistake and hit this divider, so we will report in our FIR say that there is a driver error, but it may not be really driver error. So, here in this intersection, this is minor road and this is a major road. Not clearly visible. Yeah. So, here if you are coming from minor road, you do not know who is going to come on major road, and major road is not able to see from minor road, and that is like national highway. So, where vehicle might be moving at 80, 100 kilometer per hour, and as soon as like you try to move closer, you may not realize a truck coming on the other side may hit you. So, and these kinds of like encroachment at the corner, that become very common in our case. Like wherever there is a junction, at just like right at the corner, you will see a tea shop will come up, and that create huge lot of problem. Once you have this kind of shop, there will be parking, there will be people movement. So, that will create a kind of potential hazard for the accidents. So, this we can skip. So, here
Sir, actually, sir, it is a sharp curve. We have to provide at least 2 chevron signs here.
in this,
Sir, only 1 chevron sign is provided.
yeah. So, there are 2, but it's still difficult to realize that like how sharp that curve is. So, 2 is not the correct figure.
So 3.
So, with 2 chevron sign you can draw a straight line, you cannot make curve. At least like you should have 3 to realize that like how the sharpness of the curve. So, in these cases until unless you have multiple chevron sign you cannot realize that how sharp this curve is. So, any issue with this? Online?
There's an extra carriage width there in the
Yes.
half pitch.
Yeah, road width is suddenly increase, or if you are coming from this side decrease. So, and the top of that the edge drop is huge, more than 6 inches or maybe even 10 inches. So, in these cases like if two-wheeler goes went out of this edge, that become dangerous for him. So, here anything? You have this sign. What is that sign? No overtaking. So, any drawback with this? They had the small rumble strip, everything that is properly painted.
So the center line should be straight.
Which one?
Center line, center marking line.
Center marking has
Line
to
should be straight line,
be straight line or continuous line?
continuous line.
Continuous line. So, if you are allowing like no overtaking, this center line marking has to be continuous. You cannot have like dotted one. Okay. So, on one side you are saying that overtaking is allowed, on the side you are putting a signboard and saying that overtaking is not allowed. So, you are creating a kind of confusion for the driver. So, either he will start disobeying that all the signs or this marking. So, sometimes we become too generous. So, we put too many signboard as we can have. So, sometimes they had like contractor has certain kind of like requirement that per kilometer these many signs they have to keep. And if you start following at the end, like you left out with too many sign, you put every sign the signboard at this intersection itself. Now, you can say this chevron sign, and one hand you do not have chevron sign, on other hand you have too many chevron sign. At the same time you can see that too many, because this place was a black spot. So, this sign is like for black spot location, the black round. So, then you have no overtaking sign, you have a speed limit, then you have zebra crossing, then T junction sign, too many signs overlap. So, these many information if you give to any user, so after a while he will not read anything. So, there is no point in putting these many signboards at one location, multiple locations, and sometimes they place in such orientation. So, one sign is blocking the visibility of other sign. So, you are not able to see all the signs together. Okay, same issue, continuity. So, there is no continuity in crash barrier. And here like at certain location they had like put solar cat eyes. So, they had like kind of solar panel on the top which will keep blinking in night. So, even if like you are moving in like two-wheelers with low headlight, still you will be able to see that like something is there, because like it is red keep blinking. And if you want to check it, so you put your shoe on the top like this, then it will start blinking, because as soon as you block the top, it will assume that now is night, there is no solar light, it will start blinking. So, that way you can check it in daytime as well. Then here,
Actually, sir, the height of the signboards are different.
so there are multiple signboards which are blocking each other. At the same time, vegetation is also blocking the visibility of signboard. And the other major issue which you are not highlighted. Yeah, this is not zebra crossing. So this road is turning. So anything else is required. Chevron sign might require on that side, but whether you are able to see that road is turning. So if somebody is coming from other side, you may not able to see. So clear view is not there. So everything get blocked due to this vegetation and the structure. So that clarity, until unless you have, in night time it become very difficult. Suddenly you and this road is undivided. So opposing traffic, you will may see that like suddenly somebody come in front of you. Okay. So again similar figure, I think same figure got repeated. Or so again you have multiple signboard. This being a hilly terrain, you may find like similar kind of location at multiple places. Although this picture is like say 2007, still at multiple places situation remains same. We don't have a proper crash barrier which can like protect the vehicle towards the valley side. We put some of the stones and believe that like maybe that will save the vehicle once they go out of the carriageway. Okay. So this is like one PMGSY kind of road. Another is on the top you have a major route passing. So this is a intersection, 4-leg intersection, where this road is like this major road is going at high altitude, this road is like just crossing that way. So this like kind of intersection, if some vehicle is coming from the bottom, you will not able to see who is coming on other side. So that kind of, as per IRC code, you should have at least 2 to 3 vehicle length as flat intersection. So at least the 10 meters you should have flat ground while having this kind of intersection, so that like vehicle can see that like what kind of vehicle is coming from other opposite direction. Okay. So this is a kind of road which is like getting expanded, 2 lane become 4 lane, and then you could see that like what kind of warning we are providing to the users. There are like certain bamboos stick with the reflective tapes, but if some are like visible, some may not be visible in night time. So and this depth is like more than a meter. Okay, and sometimes like these rods which people carry that like overhang meters, and if you are not aware, especially in night time, then these things might happen. Okay. So this is like multiple places you may see this, they stack up to whatever maximum capacity. Okay. So that is all. So that was like few pictures which tells about that what is the existing condition. So we could realize that existing condition is not that great, and we need to make the infrastructure uniform, at least up to minimum standard, so that like driver can at least perceive that and realize. Now we will be talking about some of the data, and Professor Sasi has already talked about global data. So we will be more focused on the Indian context. Here this is the first and last slide where different countries data is there. So if you see the number of accidents, so we may find like very happy that like we are at second position. So number of accidents is much lower than US, and if we divide by population, we become even more happy, because like our population base is high, so denominator is high, so everything comes down. So if we see the person killed, then everything got changed. So, now here you have too many accidents, but fatality number is very low. So, although this got updated maybe 40,000 as Professor Sasi says. So, and here fatality is like multiple fold. So, number of accident we might like accept, but not the serious and fatal one. So, in our case, like because many of the accident does not got reported if they are not like having fatality and serious injury. So, that is why they may be, although you have this number, but this number might you can easily multiply with 1.5 times. That might be the actual number, but still it will be far less than the US number, but fatality is like much higher. Okay. So, this is the person injured. So, person injured is like 3 times of the fatality, which is like as per current statistic, and that ratio is like more or less maintained. Okay. So, this like why Professor Sasi asked like why if a jumbo jet is like everyday crashing, why people are not like bothering about that, why it is not big news in the country is. So, this similar comparison, if we compare COVID thing. So, in COVID total death was 70 lakh and everybody was like involved in this, like how he can prevent himself or like his family or his society or his country from this COVID virus. But if you see that like kind of death rate which happens to the due to the road accident, that is like huge, but still like people are not very much aware of, like maybe not kind of concerned about, like this total death is close to 12 lakh, here it is 70 lakh. So, 1/5 of that, and that is happening at regular basis, and still people are not taking stock of that. Okay. So, this is like how the accidents in India like changes over time. So, in between this number went down. What is the reason? COVID. So, this is not like we did something great, because of COVID people does not travel, that is why like this number went down, and now you see that like this number is again going up. And if you see this demarcation, like maybe division, that among the total number of accident, fatal accident is 1/3, and then non-injury accidents are like very less, minor injury is like again 1/3. So, if you wanted to figure out what will be the fatality, so you take the total number, divide by 3, you will get a rough number how many fatalities are there. So, fatality and serious injury, that kind of numbers are like very much related. Then what type of accidents we have? So, we have reasonable number of hit and run cases, because still we are not having like kind of surveillance system at multiple places. So, accident happen in night time and does not get like culprit does not get caught. So, sometimes like still people are utilizing that kind of benefit of like having absence of technology. Hit from the back, and majority of time these accidents happen like closer to the intersection, or maybe if you had like a big pothole, suddenly the front vehicle sees the pothole, is brake, but subsequent vehicle does not realize. So, that way like these two makes 40%, then 12.5% you have hit from the side, then hit head on collision. So, this happens head on collision mostly on the undivided road, where if you wanted to have overtaking and suddenly you realize that opposite vehicle is also coming. Then this number of accidents, which is like increasing accident severity. So, this is like death per 100 accident. So, on an average now you have like 37 to 36% died out of 100 accident. So, it is like reasonably high number, and that is like still going up Now, this is like based on the severity level, means death per accident. So, now here see that like these statistics looks like quite different than what you expect. Mizoram being a small state is on the top. So, what could be the reason, like whether Mizoram is doing that bad, why it is on the top?
Because of the hilly area.
Because of the hilly area, that is like if you make any mistake, there is no chance of survival. So, that is one of the major reason. So, the safety concern is also there, but that major reason is that like there you cannot say that like roads are forgiving nature. If you make mistake, make mistake. So, you cannot like you may not be alive to make mistake again another mistake. And in similar cases, like if you see Sikkim and Assam, where we are like 42.6, where the national average is what 37, which we had seen in previous slide. So, somewhat 37, this is like the nationwide, and this is state wise. So, still like all these state, even some of the state which are not hilly, still they are like their death rates are much higher per accident. So, this is one figure which quickly tells about that what is the road safety scenario in that particular state, if they are like not having a special terrain. Now, this figure tells number of accident per 1000 vehicle. Okay. So, it is going down over the time. So, whether like we should be happy, why it is going down, whether we are making things like more safer.
Actually, number of vehicles is increasing. That's why.
Okay. Anybody else? So, here like accident divided by vehicle. If you see vehicle growth rate, so vehicle growth is exponential. So, your number of vehicle increases so much that your this statistics is going down. So, that is why like once you see any statistics, you need to think twice thrice before becoming happy. So, some of these statistics you may see that like comes under at newspaper and say that like we are doing great, but we need to see that what is in denominator. So, if denominator having a kind of population or number of vehicle, we need to be very cautious to see that data. So, here growth rate is much higher in vehicle side than the growth rate in accident. So, that is why overall this is going down. So, same thing with the fatality, that was the number of accident is fatality. So, fatality rate is not growing the way we are this vehicles growth rate is sometimes in double digit. Okay. So, here this is like construction of road, where we are constructing at growing at this rate, but number of registered vehicle is going at other rate. So, this is 3 times more. So, at the end we are seeing that like every city is having congestion every now and there. Okay. So, this is like another statistic which tells about that proportion of roads which we have. So, we could see that national highway has only 2.1% of the total length, but is almost like 1/3 of total accident it covers in terms of fatality. So, even national highway, state highway, so state highway is like slightly lower, but other roads which is having like much larger length, they also equally contribute to the national highway. So, length of the national highway is less, but contribution in fatality is much higher. So, and reason is that like they carry most of the traffic, 70 to 80% traffic is carried by national highway, and they had like high speed corridors, that is why fatalities rates are much high. So, here regions we were discussing in morning, that what could be the reason for fatality. One is that over speeding, it's like 75% time reason might be for accidents are over speeding, maybe drunken driving. This others is like big number, which is like we yet to explore that what is the actual reason for accident. So, until unless we have like kind of either trajectory data or maybe CCTV or other surveillance instrument, we may not able to figure out why this accident happened. So, that number we wanted to make it 0, so that at least we may able to figure out the what is the actual cause of accident around 14% of the cases. Okay. Then this talks about that road accident on different proportion. So, same thing if you see that at different roads. So, in case of over speeding in highways 77%, in PWD states, so it's still 60 to 70%, and like in other roads they are 60%. So, in overall this over speeding is still a major cause, whether it is national highway or any other road. Okay. The same figure. So, this vehicle wise if we see, so majority of accident where fatality occurs, the two wheelers are one of the major like participation where like they do not have any cell to protect themselves. So, two wheeler is like one of the majority cases, and we have the proportion of two wheelers in most of the urban traffic is very high. So, next is like pedestrian who are like involved in accidents. Then this is like quite interesting. So, you have drivers which is like close to 70% which were involved in accident, they had like valid license. So, this means that like either our licensing system is having some issue. So, people who are like involved in accident, they are having so called untrained driver. So, while like non-trained drivers are lesser in accident. So, that way like we need to think of that like how to change or make the driving licensing system more strict, and this is age wise distribution. So, if you see that majority of the productive age which is like from 18 to 45, if you add it up, it goes up to maybe 2/3 of the total accident. So, we are like losing people who are from the productive age which is like from 18 to 45. Then these are the different category of people who are like involved in accident. So, that pedestrian is like a pedestrian and two wheeler are most, this is 19% is pedestrian, and this 43% cases two wheeler. Cars were 17%. So, if we add it up like even pedestrian, bicycle and two wheeler, so that become like 19 to 21 plus 40. So, that becomes 65% of the people who injured, they are like who are non-motorized people, not motorized people, but they are like kind of more susceptible for the accident. This is okay. This was accident. This is fatality. So, here this picture is like even higher. In fatality, these three category pedestrian, bicycle, two wheeler, they contribute almost 2/3 of the total fatality. Okay. So, over speeding, this is already talked about. Then age wise distribution we had talked about, but here if you see this gender wise distributions are also given. So, female shares are slightly lower, much lower. So, it does not mean that they are good driver, only thing that their proportion in driver itself is very low. So, that is why these numbers are lesser. Okay. So, quickly we will go through some of the statistics in terms of like different states. So, if we see Assam in comparison to different accidents, so Tamil Nadu has highest number of accident, then Madhya Pradesh, then Kerala, then UP. So, and like maybe Assam comes 18th or 19th number in that state list. So, this is like tabular format. So, here if you see this 18, 20, 21. So, this is still Tamil Nadu is on top. These are number of accident, but if as soon as you start looking the fatality, this table gets changed. Okay. So, then UP become the top where number of fatalities are much higher, 22. So, Tamil Nadu, like although a number of accidents are 67 or maybe latest like 2020, so 50,000, they are like Tamil Nadu is like currently the best state in terms of like road safety implementation. They are able to implement lot of improvement policies, and that is why their number of accident and fatalities are going down. So, other state has to implement in more strictly. The Assam is like 18th position among all these top states. Okay. So, where UP is in number 1 in terms of like a number of fatalities. Okay. So, here this is like the number of accident, number of person killed on different types of road and the proportion of the fatalities. Now, among all these road geometries like a straight road, maybe a curve road, bridge, culvert, which you think that where accident will be mostly happening?
Straight road.
Straight road. Anybody else? So, if you see the proportion, you might expect that it will not be a straight road, because straight road driving has become very easy. So, why the accident should happen on the straight road, but majority of accidents or even fatal accidents are happening at the straight road. So, how you can justify this, that if you see this kind of region for accident. So, over speeding can happen on a straight road, and that is why like the straight road we see that like most of the fatalities. And junction is another place like where lot of accidents happen. Okay. And we believe that like accident might be happening in other adverse meteorological condition, but majority of accident happen in bright and sunny clear season, because like this kind of environment give you like offer you to drive at higher and higher speed. So, once it is adverse, like you might be more cautious, you may not drive at higher speed, but in bright sunshine on a straight road like maybe encourage you to drive at higher speed. So, this we had already discussed, and this month wise there are some seasonal variation, but more or less accident happens in all the months. So, in like winter at some portion, because this is national average. So, in some state, if you say like if you consider NCR Delhi region monthly chart, you may see that in November, December due to fog, December, January there will be slight peak. Even in hot summer also there are like slight peak in the number of accidents. Okay. With the time wise we could see that like majority of accident happen in like late evening hours, like around 6 to 11 hours, because that is the time when people are in that rush mode to come back their houses. At the same time visibility makes a like clear difference because absence of sunlight. So, people are not able to see the opposing traffic. Okay. And this is like the accident chart among all 7 states in northeast. So, here Assam is the like top among all 7. So, and if you see the accident growth rate, this we can skip like in Assam. So, in 2021 we had like 3800 fatality in Assam only. So, this is like the maximum among the northeast, and here maybe they are contributing around 2.5% of the total national fatality in Assam, and this this is like number proportion is increasing, okay. And region is like here, okay, region, I think next slide, this is like grievance injury and fatality. So, you see that like they are 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So, like serious injury and fatality and the non-injuries, they share equally, and this is like kind of severity level. So, national average is 37, but most of the like northeastern state, they might have higher than the national average in terms of death per 100 accidents. So, this is the region like where accident happens. So, in Assam, again with the like nationwide, similarly in Assam also like 68% of accident happen due to over speeding, and they happen is in state road, they happen in sunny weather condition, and 78% of time due to human factor, okay. And severity rate is like higher than the national average, and that is like increasing year by year. And another major difference is that like driving on wrong side and drunken driving is like drunken driving is much higher than the national average. So, that is like another concern for this state, that we need to control drunken driving cases in order to reduce the number of accident. And this is like in similar. So, majority of accident happen in late hours, okay. So, yeah, so this is like even within Assam we had district wise data, and we figured out like in different month why this accident suddenly peaks up in particular location. So, what has been figured out that over the time there are few incidences or few religious festivals, during that time suddenly movement, because movement increases, accident happen. So, here traffic police, they are working on that, like they run special drives during these occasions. So, the last year they are able to reduce the fatality by 10 to 12% from the previous year, okay. So, now quickly we will talk about like some of the challenges. One of the challenges is that enforcement related thing. So, what kind of government initiative has been taken, then related to data recording, related to like crash test for vehicles, then training a personnel in terms of driving license, okay. So, now one of the initiative is that now Motor Vehicle Act has been implemented, where a few of the major change is that like earlier we were having much lower penalty rates. So, wrong parking and drunken driving were like, if you compare to other countries, our penalty rates are much lower. With the new Motor Vehicle Act, now this is the was the past penalty rate. Now, you see that in some cases penalty rate has been 5-fold, in some cases like maybe this few of the penalty rate which had been increases recently, driving by minor, okay. So, this was not there. So, now if a driver which is like less than 18 years or 16 years, so prescribed age, so if got caught, then he will not be penalized, their parents will be penalized, they can go, they have to pay 25,000 penalty plus imprisonment, 3 months imprisonment, might also 3 years imprisonment also possible. So, that is like implemented throughout pan India, and that is like now had made significant improvement. So, this we had Professor Sasi has already talked about. So, we will discuss in detail in some of the subsequent lectures. Then in this case, like post crash response, earlier this was not our priority. Now, we every state government is started working with the post crash response, and they had properly figured out and designated different hospitals across the state, like this is only Assam, and if you see all these highways, if you overlap, you will see that like along this highways, they had designated, they had upgraded some of the hospital, existing hospital, so that they can handle the trauma care patient. So that is like kind of initiative. They had realized that like post accident, if they are able to handle and patient can be treated within the golden hour, then lot of fatality can be reduced. Then another initiative related to accident data. So IRAD system has been implemented, which is like a joint venture of IIT Madras and NIC. So both now this like IRAD we will be discussing in separate class, that what IRAD is, what kind of data it like record, and how this data can be utilized. Then crashworthiness test. So we were not having our own crash test program, where at different countries we are having crash programs, like whether rating different car rating comes, like whether they had 5-star rating in crash or maybe lower. So now Indian government had come up with the our own Bharat CAP, Bharat NC CAP. So where like we have our own star rating system. Okay. Then training a person to the driver to have a like rigorous licensing system. So in this case, there was like lot of issue. There were human intervention, and which like create a scope of giving bribe and getting driving license. So to avoid that, we started working with autonomous testing track. In multiple states, we had now automatic testing track system, where you need to drive your vehicle in the track, and then it will get recorded through video and sensors. So at the end, once you complete your driving test, you will get result immediately without having any human intervention. So that is like even in Assam, government has announced I think 7 to 8 testing track, and few are under in progress. Okay. So this is another testing track. Okay. So this is all about like today's lecture, just giving you the overview that what kind of accident stats we have, and what are the challenges, what are the government initiative. So any question till now?
Yes, sir. This is Ashwini Gupta. I would
Yes.
like to ask. I mean, you had said that the number of accidents per 10,000 registered vehicles.
Yes.
Do we have any statistics on actual vehicles on road? Number of accidents per actual vehicles on road? Because as the number of registered vehicles rise, obviously the accidents are also increasing. So do we have some statistics on whether the number of vehicles on road, I mean, as they increase, so have the accidents increased, or in what proportion the accidents have increased with respect to the number of actual vehicles on road?
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm able to raise the question clearly.
Yeah, I understood your concern. So maybe like you are saying not the total number, but the vehicle which are currently plying on the road. So getting
Yes,
that number, that at particular time how many vehicles are plying on the road, that is little challenging. The reliable data is not available for that. But if we do some kind of maths and considering that okay, design life of a particular vehicle is like 15 years or 20 years, in some of the state that like in Delhi NCR they had like 15 years or 10 years of registration validity. So considering that some number can be obtained, but yes, that data is not available in public domain, like that clear statistic that how many vehicles are on the road, and then how many accidents happen due to that vehicle. So total vehicle we have, because that is properly registered, but at a time how much proportion of vehicle is on the road, that kind of survey is not done.
And also this, I mean, when we say level of service, so obviously with level of service A, the number of accidents I believe would be higher than when the level of service is C, D, or E. Is that Is that right? I think when level of service is A, then the accident would be highest.
So it's partially correct. Like if we are having level of service A versus level of service C, in level of service C, number of accident might be more, but yes, in level of service A, fatal accident will be more. So if we see crash potential, like number of fatality per 100 accident, in case of level of service C, that crash potential will be lower than the level of service A. Okay, so that is why, like in urban areas, in like especially in peak hours, you will have less fatal accident. But that is not the reality, because like sometimes even in Guwahati also, in some of the meeting it is raised that like Guwahati city is like very safe, because like hardly traffic moves. So average speed you figure out, like it will be 15 kilometer or 20 kilometer per hour in daytime. So in that speed, if even if accident happen, it cannot be a fatal accident. But the traffic does not remain same the entire day. During the late hours or maybe early morning hours, the same road remains empty, and that time like over speeding happen and the fatal accident happen. So even though like this metro, Guwahati metro, they had like having most of the time congestion complaint, but number of fatalities is still higher among all state, all other districts in the Assam. So that way, like we can say that like once level of service C is there, maybe fatality might be less, but most of the in those cases accident happen in early morning or maybe late hours, fatal accident especially. Okay, I hope I had answered.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So any other question from online? Yes. Okay. So if there is no question, just like I will take another 2 minutes to just highlight. So new participant. So we are going to have a conference in December, 17 to 20th December. CTRG, Conference of Transportation Research Board, Transportation Research Group of India. So and paper call is already on. So and last date will be 15th of April. So people like who are willing to submit papers can submit before 15th April. And we will be this selected paper will be published in 2 of the international journal. One is Transport Research Record, another is like Transportation in Developing Economy. So these 2 journal, which is published by Springer, and both are SCI indexed. Okay. So and these are other details. And if some people are interested in that, this conference is like organized by IIT Guwahati and Transportation Research Group of India. So you can join also this Transportation Research Group of India. So this is like about CTRGs. This is just video, like it will tell about past CTRG, where it happens, what was the scale, just a glimpse of that, starting from first CTRG in 2011, then this CTRG was in Agra 2013. So then this was like in Kolkata. Then this was IIT Bombay. So 2019 in Bhopal. Then NIT Trichy. So this happens in Pan India. So where generally 300 plus people joins this conference. Okay. So this is the one opportunity. People like wanted to submit paper can quickly submit. So thank you.